Hi, Gianna and Peyton. I have a very interesting story for you today.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
Today's story is a sad one. It is about Jesus' death, and I know it will make you very sad because children love Jesus.
Oh no, Jesus can't die. Tell us the story.
When Jesus was here on earth, he cast out demons, healed the sick, and people referred to him as the Messiah. So, the high priest, other priests, and lawmen said he was causing an uprising in Rome and it should not be allowed because their authority will be threatened if the people started believing him. So they set up plots to kill Jesus. And guess what?
What?
One of his very own disciples betrayed him. This disciple's name was Judas.
Oh no.
Yes, he betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. Jesus knew he was going to be betrayed and crucified. Look. Jesus went away from his disciples in the garden to pray.
My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will.
Do you see how sad Jesus was? Because the time of his betrayal was coming.
How will he know?
Will there be a sign?
Yes, Judas told them to arrest the man he was going to kiss. Then Judas arrived with a large crowd armed with stones and swords. Judas went over to Jesus and greeted him, saying, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him.
You mean like this? Greetings, Rabbi.
Yes. Jesus said, "Do what you came for, friend." The men then stepped forward and arrested Jesus. When the disciples saw this, they all ran.
Please tell us what happened next.
So they carried Jesus to Caiaphas, the high priest, who had other elders with him. But guess who was following in the distance?
Who?
Peter, one of his disciples. He even sat with the guards just to see what was going to happen.
Did he try to save him?
Not really. Remember, they would do anything to have Jesus killed, so they were looking for false evidence to put him to death. Unfortunately, many false witnesses came forward.
You mean they told lies on Jesus?
How? But this is Jesus.
Look and you will see.
He said he was able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days.
Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against? I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God. You have said so, but I tell you from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. He has blasphemed. Why do we still need witnesses? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?
He deserves death.
Where was Peter in all of this?
Yes, where is Peter? He must have defended Jesus.
You wish. Nope, he didn't. When he was asked if he was with Jesus, Peter denied it, saying that he had no idea what they were talking about.
The nerve!
Peter's words were, "I do not know the man." Let's see what happens next.
Are you the king of the Jews?
You say so. Do you not hear how many accusations they make against you?
They then put Jesus in jail. Now Pilate realized that Jesus was innocent, and it was out of jealousy that they handed him over. Even his wife told him that Jesus was innocent. In those times, it was the custom during the Passover celebration for the governor to release one prisoner and set him free. Pilate thought that the people would see that Jesus was innocent and would set him free. Little did he know that the chief priest and elders asked the crowds to ask for Barabbas, who was a known wrongdoer, and have Jesus killed. So when Pilate asked the question, the crowd shouted out, "Barabbas!" and that Jesus should be crucified.
This is so wrong.
Pilate then handed Jesus over to be crucified. The soldiers stripped Jesus of his clothes and put a scarlet robe on him and placed a crown of thorns on his head. They mocked him and beat him, saying,
"Hail, King of the Jews."
As they went out, they came upon a man named Simon. They told him to carry Jesus' cross. They offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall, but after tasting it, he could not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head they put the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." There were thieves that were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. People who passed him were saying,
You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. You are the Son of God. Come down from the cross.
Even the chief priests and elders mocked him by saying,
He saved others. He cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now, if he wants to. For he said, I am God's son.
The bandits who were crucified with him also taunted him in the same way. Darkness came over the land, and at about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani? This meant, my God, why have you forsaken me? Even people around who heard it said, This man is calling for Elijah. At once, one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last breath.
The first word. Father, forgive them. They know not what they have done. In our everyday life, we see evil. Selfishness, sin, bullying, and anger seem to be the only thing that is in life, and frequently appears that evil triumphs over goodness. But there is one weapon the enemy doesn't have, a single tool powerful enough to reconcile the world and bring us back to God: forgiveness. Jesus on the cross has reminded us to forgive. Praying to God and asking him for his forgiveness is something that we should do when we know that we have done something wrong, and it is a step in the right direction. While it is easy to ask for forgiveness, how often do we offer it? Could you forgive someone who said something mean to you at school, or a teacher for not teaching you something they put on a test? As Jesus hung on the cross, he pleaded with his Father to forgive his tormentors, at whose hands he suffered unimaginable pain. Sometimes in our relationships with others, the only thing more difficult than humbling ourselves to ask forgiveness is to truly grant it, to fully forgive, to not let resentment continue to linger inside of us. As we remember Jesus' first word, Father, forgive them. They know not what they have done. This reminds us that God's forgiveness knows no boundaries. We need God's help and grace to forgive in such a way.
And he said to him, Truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Luke chapter 23, verse 43. Jesus will always be available, no matter how serious the situation, no matter our past. It will never be too late to seek God and approach him. The thief had made many mistakes in his life. Those mistakes led him to be sentenced to death on the cross. But despite that, he knew how to recognize his need and approach the only one who could give him the peace and forgiveness he needed. Thanks to the cross, Jesus is accessible to us today. His sacrifice is the door to a new life and opportunity. To men, the thief was reprehensible, but to God, he was a redeemed soul, a son to whom he could receive in his kingdom. No matter the past, no matter what they think of us, no matter if how seems to be lost, Jesus is there to refocus our life, to give us unconditional love and affection, to give us back the hope we need to move on. Jesus will always be the best choice.
When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to his disciple, "Behold your mother." The woman who carried Jesus in her womb, who taught him how to walk, who heard his first words, is now in this place, her son beaten and bruised, mocked and scorned. But she stands by his side with the people who have caused him all this pain, even though it must hurt her to see him like this. It is no doubt that because of his great love and compassion for his mother, that even amidst his suffering on the cross, Jesus made sure that his mother was taken care of once he died. He was not thinking of himself, but his mother and his friend. I can relate to my own mother, how committed she is to my sister and I, the sacrifices she makes to ensure that we're taken care of. Like the time that my mother had me in her arms when I was a child. Walking down the stairs, she tripped and fell. To make sure that I wouldn't get hurt, she covered me with her body and took the brunt of the fall. Jesus is not only showing us how important it is to honor our mothers, but just as Jesus cares for his mother, in a similar fashion, he cares for us through his sacrifice.
The fourth word spoken by Jesus before he died. My God, why have you forsaken me? Have you ever felt all alone? I'm sure a few of you might have felt this way over the past 2 years when you could not interact with your friends, or you're an only child and had no siblings to play with. This is how Jesus must have felt when he was on the cross crying out to his Father, my God, why have you forsaken me?" In this last word, Jesus shows us that we have a God who is always with us. When we are anxious and sad, we are not alone in our feelings of abandonment and sadness. In these moments, we are invited to cry out to God. God hears our cries even when we are sad. We can at all times share our deepest sorrow with God. We can trust that God is still there and God will always be there.
And thirsty. Water, thirst, and drinking are part of a common motive in the Gospels, especially throughout John. Jesus tells us in John 7, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me, and let anyone who believes in me drink." In this moment, Jesus, who offers us the promise of living waters throughout the Holy Spirit, is dry. Have you ever felt that extreme thirst on a hot summer's day that could only be quenched by the coolest of waters? Or have you ever loved someone so much that their absence left an empty feeling in your heart? In the same way, Jesus in his dying moments felt parched, empty. But what else was Jesus thirsting for? In this moment, Jesus was betrayed by humanity and was feeling forsaken by his heavenly Father. He thirsts for us. He wants nothing more than for us to fully understand just how much he loves us and for us to love him in return. When Jesus called out his thirst upon the cross, he was given the sour taste of vinegar. In the same way, we too often respond to Jesus' thirst, not with our love, but with the vinegar of a hardened heart towards God.
Jesus' sixth saying on the cross was, "It is finished." What this saying means to me is that Jesus took the punishment that we should have endured when he died on the cross. But our journey was not over. We were left on earth to further our relationship with God and to honor him.
Jesus' last words on the cross were, "Father, I entrust my spirit into your hands. And I see this as an example that I follow in my day-to-day life. From when I wake up in the morning, I pray for my family, my friends, for all the people in my life. And I do this throughout the day in all my day-to-day activities, especially in tests which I had recently. I'm not sure if I did well, but I pray that I did. So I implore you as fellow Christians to go out and commit your life, your day, your time to God, and just trust in Him that He will see you through.